Hello and welcome to my channel, The Way What Is Truth. Remember to like, subscribe and comment down below. Now, today I'd like to talk about blessing those who persecute us. Now, this is more relevant than ever today because we are living within the midst of a cost of living crisis, and depending on where you are in the world, there's all sorts of stuff going on, okay? In this day and age, people are being pushed to the limit. Whether it's people being stuck in traffic and being beat at, or people driving too close behind us, people not indicating, people speeding. So many people are losing their temper on the road these days. It's just unbelievable. And then there's problems within our families. Sometimes we can get stabbed in the back. Sometimes we have friends who we thought were our friends, but really they didn't care all that much about us, or they ended up not liking us. So many people are being abandoned left, right and centre by friends, family, work colleagues. People are being killed out there, and people are literally being murdered, you know, and it's terrible what's going on. Anyway, I mean, I couldn't even begin to talk about all the different things that people are going through and the kind of situations people are put in where, yeah, we should be blessing our enemies, we should be blessing those who curse us, we shouldn't be holding grudges, we shouldn't be hating people, but a lot of the time it's easier to hate people, a lot of the time it's easier to hold grudges, it's easier to curse those who curse us, and even to feel like cursing those who bless us, because sometimes the people who are blessing us we don't like. We're living in a world where not everyone is going to like you, whether it's next door neighbours, friends, family. Sometimes people have been dumped after years and years, sometimes just after a few months. Sometimes people have like a relationship that lasts 20, 30, 40 years and then they're dumped or cheated on. And yeah, in the midst of all this chaos and craziness and all the bad things that happen to our friends and family, we're supposed to forgive people, we're supposed to bless them. You know, so without further ado, I'm going to read from Luke 28 all the way to Luke 36. So it's Luke 6:28, sorry, all the way. Yeah. So it's going to be Luke 6:28 to 36, just so we're clear on that. All right. Okay. So it starts off like this. Luke 6:28. Bless those who curse you and pray for those who spitefully use you. This world is absolutely full of users and abusers, right? To him who strikes you on the one cheek, offer the other also. So if anyone engages us in a fight or wants to play fisticuffs with us, wants to play a bit of kissy chase, we're not supposed to be violent to people who are violent towards us. How difficult is that? I mean, I know that if I'm just sitting in traffic and somebody flips me the bird, or it's easier to lose your rag, it's easier to lose your temper in this world than it is to let things go over your head and just think, well, that's just life, people aren't perfect, we're all human. But it's the hardest thing in the world. People think it's easy. People think, oh, Christians are just a bunch of do-gooders, always smiling. You know, a lot of people, when they think of Christians, they think of Ned Flanders. Whilst in reality, you can be like breathing fire out of your mouth with a crowbar or something, or just about to get arrested in some sort of epic showdown. Hopefully that never happens in my life, but excuse me. We're human, that's what I'm trying to say. We are human. We lose our tempers, we get angry, we get annoyed. You know, when people do bad things and say bad things, as our natural reaction is to retaliate. Yeah. Anyway, to him who strikes you on the one cheek, offer the other also. And from him who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. So basically, people that steal stuff from you, or perhaps ask. I think it's referring. Well, it says here, and from him who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. So yeah, there's a lot of takers, whether they be thieves or just people who ask for something and then you give it to them, or perhaps you take something behind your back. And then now on to Luke 6:30. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from him who takes away your goods, do not ask them back. Okay, so it further extrapolates on what I was saying earlier on. So I think Luke 6:29, where it says, to him who strikes me on the one cheek, offer the other also, I've already explained what that means. to not retaliate, to not repay violence with violence. And then it says, from him who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. So I think it must be referring to a thief, because in Luke 6:30 it goes on to say, give to everyone who asks of you, and from him who takes away your goods, do not ask them back. So we're supposed to give as much as we reasonably can, right? And just as you want men to do to you, you also do to them likewise. And again, it's all well and good me reading all this through, but it's easier said than done. Obviously, all this stuff that I'm reading out of the Bible right now it comes more naturally to some people than it does to others. In fact, there's millions of unbelievers out there who are more generous and who give more to charity and who help out their friends and family, a lot more than what so-called Christians do. So just bear that in mind as well. And then it goes on to say, but if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them, which is very, very true. Let me just read that again and now think about this very, very carefully, right? But if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. So yeah, it's natural to love our family and old-time friends who we've known for years, but other people who we're not so sure about, people who we think are risky, or perhaps people who we see as our enemies or whatever, people who we don't like, people that we're not sure of, it's a lot harder to love them. But if we do love them and go out of our way to be friendly to them and to not hold grudges and so on and so forth, then that's more of a credit to us, you know. And if you lend to those from whom you hope to receive back, what credit is that to you? For even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much back. So whenever we give, really, we shouldn't be asking for it back. I think the only time that we should expect something back really is if we really can't afford to give it in the first place. So let's say if someone knocks on your door and says, oh, I haven't got any food, but you yourself have hardly got any food in the fridge either. So I said, well, okay, I'll give you my loaf of bread. It's the only bit of food I've got in the fridge. But if you could sort of pay me back. In those situations, yeah, I think so. That's about right. But if you can afford to give a little bit of money, a little bit of food, or whatever it is that someone wants, then don't ask for it back. But love your enemies, do good, and lend, hoping for nothing in return. That's what we should be striving towards. Let me just read that again. Again, we're on Luke 6:35 now. But love your enemies, do good, and lend, hoping for nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High. Okay, so everything we do on this earth we get rewarded for. We don't always realise it at the time, but everything from helping an old lady cross the street, to giving to charity, to giving to friends and family, to treating our enemies nicely, to forgiving people, all this stuff makes a difference, and we'll get rewarded for everything bad that we do, and we'll get punished and disciplined for all of the bad that we do. What goes around comes around. Sometimes we can live our whole lives thinking that we're not living in a sinful manner, whilst really we are. We're making mistakes. Sometimes it could be being in a relationship with someone who God doesn't approve of. It could be anything. We're making mistakes left, right and centre without even realising it. Our lives are chaotic. The world's crazy. We're complicated. We make mistakes, right? I'm not judging anyone, but sometimes we do live it in a way and we keep on doing things that God does not like, and we will get punished for them. It's only a matter of time. Sooner or later, we're going to get punished for the wrong we do. It's only a matter of time. I mean, take people that live lives of hedonism and people who are self-satisfied, thinking, well, okay, whatever, well, I've got this going for me, I've got that to look forward to, I'll be fine, I'm great, you know, I've got all this to look forward to, this, that and the other. But there comes a point, for a start, none of us are going to be alive forever. There comes a point when we've got to pay for it. If we're living in a selfish way, whether it's hedonism, promiscuity, stealing, treating people badly, whatever it might be, losing our temper with people left, right and centre on the road when we're driving our car, like beeping people, there's an end point to it. God allows us to do what we want, say what we want, and do what we want, to think and feel what we want. We've got complete free will, but at the end of the day, He is the judge. So we should be praying for forgiveness, we should be repenting, we should be praying the Our Father prayer, and we should be leaving everything at the cross of Christ, which is hard to do. Anyway, let me carry on reading. We should leave all our problems at the cross of Christ, no matter how bad it is, man. This world is tough. There are indescribably bad things. I mean, I think I've had it tough with my loneliness and depression and having practically no friends. Other people have had it even worse, man. I couldn't even begin to describe it. Just different situations, different circumstances, way and above apart from me, you know. Anyway, so yeah. Then it goes on to say, therefore be merciful, just as your Father also is merciful. And now we're on to Luke 6:37. Judge not, and you shall not be judged. I wasn't going to read this, but I will. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. So yeah, we make mistakes, other people make mistakes, terrible things happen to us and our friends and family, our partners. That's the way the world is, folks. I mean, what more can I say? I would love for anyone to comment down below and extrapolate on this further. Perhaps you could talk about your own life experiences, perhaps situations you've been in where you've blessed people who have cursed you, and you've forgiven people where it was really hard for you to forgive them because of how bad it was, or because of how extreme or bad it was that person did to you. Sometimes people struggle to forgive people for relatively small things, never mind the more major stuff, like taking somebody's life, or stabbing someone, or stealing, or years and years of being cheated on, or having a large sum of money stolen from you, or perhaps having your reputation ruined. There's endless things that people can do to us in this world. That's not right, it's not fair, but it happens. So yeah, I'd just like to encourage everyone to take all their problems to the cross. As always, just take them to the cross of Christ. Sometimes we can have friends where we thought they cared about us, but they don't. They're a bit apathetic, they're a bit nonchalant. Perhaps someone's judged you and just left it to that. I think, well, it's life. I've known people in the past who thought that I had issues. Okay, I mean, nothing major per se, but it says, well, okay, he's got issues, he's got to sort it out, it's not my problem, that's his problem. He's going mad at me, or he's saying things, or saying, well, you should have been my friend, but you let me down. And yeah, that's how I felt. I felt that certain people have let me down in the past. And the fact that I've been very lonely and depressed for most of my life, it didn't make it any easier, because when you've already got friends and family and a social life, if the odd person here and there abandons you, or you find that they didn't really like you all that much, or they just don't care about you, it's not such a big deal. But when you've gone through years and years of loneliness, not to sound too personal or anything, but yeah, I mean, that's just a little bit about my life. I encourage everyone who's watching this video to check out as many of my vids as possible, because I cover many different topics and subjects, okay, and you'll learn more about me, and I hope and pray that I learn more about you, whoever's watching this video. Always remember to comment on my vids, because I've only got a small YouTube channel, and I appreciate every like and comment and subscriber that I get. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to sip some of this coffee. Really, what I should do is just inject this stuff into my veins like that, you know. Anyway, I hope you're all keeping well. Bye-bye and take care.